Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome back. It's been a while, 2 weeks, but I'm back and I think I've got everything sorted out. Can I just get a quick thumbs up in the side chat if my audio is coming through clearly? Want to make sure all of my issues are fixed. Woohoo! I'm a bit unshaven today, but the hell with it. It's a weekend. So hopefully my audio is coming through good. And if you can all probably notice, I got my good friend Tusk with me today. We're gonna have a little bit of fun. How you doing, Tusk?
I'm doing great, Jeff. I'm doing great. Thanks for
Awesome,
inviting me on.
awesome.
Always good
Yeah,
to be
well,
here.
I owed you a guest spot from 3 weeks ago, but because of the last couple of weeks, I haven't been able to have you on. So, and you had a prior commitment as well. So, we finally got you on. So good to have you here, mate.
Awesome. Yeah, I had some family things. Not any family issues. It was just real life comes first sort of thing.
Well, yeah, of course, it always does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. But we're going to have a little bit of fun tonight, and we're going to talk about a few interesting things and whatever sticks to the wall, as usual. Just going to say hello to a few people in the chat. We got, of course, Mr. Clive Wells is with us. Hello, Clive. Good to see you, sir. Rob Parks. Hello. Eddie Little Rage. We always love having you around, Eddie. And who else have we got with us? We've got Doomver. Awesome. How are you doing, Mr. Northern Aggressor? Yeah, I like that name. That's such a cool name. I really do. Who else? Do we have anybody else with us that I've maybe missed? Or Carl Edwards. Hello, Carl. Sable Eagle. Hello, Sable Eagle. The usual crowd. Good to see you guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's nice to be back. So, yeah. Oh, by the way, the last time I was on, I had promised you guys to get some footage of the flower display for this year's Tet holiday. And I got that footage, and I'll be showing that video later on in the show. So get ready for that. Hope you guys enjoy it. So let's get on with our discussion there, Mr. Tusk. How have you been, sir? What's up? What's going on with you?
I'm doing okay, just like everybody else, just keeping a weather eye out and an eye on, the news, because I don't know how aware you are of the political situation in the UK at the moment. It's we have a prime minister who is a shameless liar. It's and he has to go. But he spent his entire political career trying to be prime minister, and he's not given up without a fight. But he's been caught in so many lies, and he's under criminal investigation. He has to go. But it's like it's pulling winkle muscles from a shell. He just does. He's hunkered down, and I don't know if you've ever seen the man speak, but he just blah blah blah, bluff and bluster, blah blah blah. Never answers a question directly. A lot like a flat earther, in fact.
Okay.
And trying to pin him down is impossible. He was asked a straightforward question about was he at a particular event at a particular place in a particular time, and his answer was, "You'll have to wait for the outcome of the investigation." They just say yes or no. You know what I mean?
It's like trying to catch a fart in a windstorm.
Yeah, it's just like it was asked over and over again in Parliament, no less.
Oh my Lord!
In front of the nation on television. Were you there? And he couldn't. He knew he was, so he couldn't answer yes or no. Yes, he incriminated himself. No, he misled Parliament. So he just kept repeating the same phrase over and over again, and it was embarrassing to watch.
Oh, unreal. It's too bad you don't have that. The UK or the Commonwealth in general doesn't have laws like the States where you can impeach your leaders and just boot them out.
Well, we do have a process. It's a vote of no confidence, but it requires his own party, who have a sizable majority, to vote against them, and that's not going to happen.
So what party is he? Labour or Conservative?
Conservative.
Conservative. Well, that kind of explains half the wankerism.
Well, yeah. Well, you can you can excuse and expect a certain amount of being a wanker because you're a Tory. But some of it you have to take personal responsibility for at least 50% of it.
Yeah. Well, Rob Parks has a point. He said that's what we thought about Trump. Yeah, he got impeached what 2 or 3 times, and he's still stuck around.
No,
So go figure.
he's in trouble right now. He's under so many investigations, and he's been discovered that he took. It's been discovered. Yeah,
Mm,
that's a poorly constructed sentence. They've
mhm.
discovered since he took classified documents to Mar-a-Lago. He took them from the White House, took them
Yeah.
to his golf resort, and may have tried to shred or bin them while he was there. Classified documents, you
Oh
know.
no, you're kidding.
No, it's because he believed he had absolute power. Then he could do anything he liked. So he had classified documents in his home,
Just laying about.
just laying about on a
Oh,
golf course of all fucking places.
holy. You do that in the military, you're going to find yourself spending your life in military prison.
Yeah. Well, a few years ago, there was a, I can't remember exactly what happened, but there was
Hmm.
some lapse in security somewhere along the chain, and thousands and thousands of pages of classified documents from the nuclear submarine base in Faslane were blown all up and down the riverside and the loch side
Mhm.
where it's based, and people were walking along picking up these documents and
Oh,
like
you're kidding. Oh
details
no,
of like maneuvers and officers' movements and troop movements, and it's like, what the fuck, you
you're
know?
kidding.
No, and Stevie B pointed out there was a case a few years ago where a minister left his briefcase on the train
Oh
full of,
man,
you know, secret, top
that's
secret, and otherwise classified documents.
that is the height of
Yeah.
irresponsibility.
It's like, what the hell are you doing taking them home anyway?
Oh
Apart from anything else. Yeah, but yeah,
yeah,
so this is
well,
what, I'm keeping a close eye on this because he's such an absolute coward and he's
mm,
fighting for his political life. He refuses to
well,
take any kind of definite stance on Ukraine and Russia, and he keeps
yeah.
changing the rules with regards to uh, restrictions because of the Lagerlurgy. I don't want to say the name
Mm.
of it in case we get kicked off the air.
Yeah, no kidding, huh?
So
But
it's politically we're in an absolute shambles at the moment.
yeah, and I think you're right, Clive. Boris is no different from all other politicians. I guess it really doesn't matter what party you're from.
Yeah, I don't know if I subscribe to that. I mean, we do. I would never say like the Scottish National Party or the
Mm,
Greens in Scotland are anything like the Tories in Scotland.
true.
So I
Well,
mean, most of the Tory party went to public school or private school as it would be in America. And they're
mhm,
all like classically educated. Most of them are lawyers. But then you
mhm.
get down to like the smaller parties where they're part timers or they work in shops. Some of them, they run their own businesses, little small
Yeah.
businesses. But I don't think you can really compare that and say all politicians are the same because that's just not true. It may be that after years in
Mhm.
the political jungle, they
Yeah.
do adopt a few personality traits to survive. But I don't
Mhm.
believe that all politicians can be like tarred with the same brush.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose you're right about that. I mean, there are a few politicians in Canada that I thought were really actually pretty good. And to be honest, I have to be honest. I don't have a problem with Trudeau. I think he's doing a fine job. You know, he's a bit of a flake at times, I think, but in general, I don't think he's doing too bad. But he's with oh God, he's with the Liberals, the Liberal Party, which is kind of like I think the Labour Party in the UK, is it not?
And now we have the Liberal Democrats in the UK, which is probably
Oh, okay,
the
the equivalent.
closest
Yeah,
equivalent.
and the
Yeah,
Tories would be the same as the progressive conservatives in Canada.
yeah, more or less.
Yeah, more or less. Well, I'm not really up on politics. It's not something that I really follow a lot, and I really don't have very big understanding of what's going on in the UK. But with that in mind, if you had a choice, who would you prefer to see in office right now?
That's a hard question. Locally, the Scottish National Party, because
Mm-hmm.
I want independence. I want us to break away from the United Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
It's failed. It failed a long time ago. But nationally, that's the difficulty in the UK. It's probably the same in Canada as well, and parts of America,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of Scotland and Wales are rural communities.
Yeah.
Then to govern them from a city with city folk who don't understand the issues and pressures of living in the country and being a farmer and a seasonal worker, then
Mm-hmm.
there's no one party who can cover all those bases, which is why in the UK we have, Scotland rather, proportional
Mm-hmm.
representation. So we have our central party, which at the moment is the Conservatives, but over Scotland you have proportional representation where you can be represented by
Yeah.
the Liberals, the Greens, or the Nationals, and it's a workable system. But the people who are representing their own communities and only their communities don't
Mm-hmm.
know how to run a country. So I wouldn't
Yeah.
have them in centralised government. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm a proponent of a decentralised government, more direct democracy.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think I would choose any one party to be the governing party overall.
Yeah.
So I think the whole of the UK should have its own, each individual area, like the north of England, south of England, Wales, and so on, should have its own regional assembly,
Mm-hmm.
and more like a federal system like the
Mm-hmm.
US has.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we need first past the post for the overall governing party, but we do need proportional representation in places
Yeah.
like the North East, South Wales, and so on.
Mm-hmm. Well, I
So,
hope it gets
sorry,
sorted
sorry,
out.
I didn't answer that question at all.
No, no, that's fine. I mean, I kind of understand where you're coming from. I would probably take a similar stance myself. To have one party in control of everything always seems to lead to some kind of trouble. You know.
Well, yeah, the problem we have in the UK is because the governing party at the moment tend to be kind of upper class, although I despise the class system, but just for convenience, we'll say they're
Mm-hmm.
kind of upper class, very well. They've got a lot of financial backing and so on, and
Mm-hmm.
occasionally they slip up and call themselves the ruling party. It's like, no,
Ah,
you do not rule me. You govern the country.
yeah. You
Uh,
administer. You
Yeah,
don't rule.
yeah, yeah. You are the executive branch of government. You do not rule.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
You're the administrators. Exactly. Yeah.
But as
Yeah.
I think
I
it was
agree.
Plato that said the worst thing about not seeking power is that power often goes to someone who you consider inferior. So we complain
Yeah.
about the government, but we don't do anything about it, and we get these people who are clearly not fit to govern.
Mm-hmm.
But you, well, you can't use the machinery of the state to dismantle the state. So
Mm-hmm.
we can protest all we like, but we're stuck in this every 5 years an election.
Yeah.
You know,
And
so
and
unless
in the end, let's face it, he's in there because the people voted him in.
yeah, yeah, people voted them in, whether I like it or
Mhm.
not. That's democracy.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
Majority
unless
rule.
unless I want to dismantle the democratic system, then I'm stuck with it, and I just have to suck it up. Because next time
Yeah.
it might be my turn. My party might get in next time. Then I can turn round to the people who voted for him and say exactly what they said to me. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so it's not an ideal system. Centralized government is a thing of the past, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to go down that route because we'll be here all day. You know?
That's true. Well, we can always shift subjects and find something else to keep us here all day. And one of them that I would love to talk about, and I don't know if you guys have been watching Tusk's channel lately, but he's come up with some new stuff. And you seem to have quite a penchant for the proper pronunciation of Scottish whiskies. Can you give us a little background about how you came up with that?
Well, yeah, actually, I'm a fan of whiskey. I think everybody knows that. You know,
Hmm.
I do like my single malts. Not a fan of blended whiskies. It has to always be single malt. Not a snob or anything. Well, I'm kind of a snob, but No, I don't drink whiskey to get drunk. Never drink whiskey to get drunk. That's a mug's game. You've not had a hangover until you've had a whiskey hangover. But it's nice. People say, "Oh, I don't like whiskey," and that's fair enough. But they've tried maybe one cheaper blend or one cheaper bottom shelf brands. And, oh, that's disgusting. Then you say there's this whole spectrum of flavors and textures, and you find the one you like. Even if you want to mix it or something with Coca-Cola, whatever, that's fine. I'm not one of those guys. Look, whiskey must be drunk straight and all that. It's your whiskey, drink it how you like. So I didn't drink whiskey for a long time because it was kind of seen as an old man's drink, and it just wasn't trendy, I suppose, to drink whiskey. And if you're sitting in the pub with your friends and they're all drinking pints and you've got a whiskey, and yours is finished, 3-4 times faster than them, you have to sit without a drink until it's so anyway, this is how I got to this point. So in lockdown, because we're not going out to the pub and everything, it's like, well, I'm sitting having I don't want to sit and drink beer because it's really heavy and fattening and you piss like a racehorse.
Yeah.
So rather than spending so much money on fizzy piss water, I thought if I spend the same money on a bottle of single malt, it's going to last longer. It'll be a nicer experience, and I can sip it and enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I started looking for different new experiences because the Far Eastern market has completely changed how Scotch whisky is made and marketed in the country. Because they can't keep up with demand, so they're pumping out a lot of crap and giving it fancy names to sell this romantic notion of the Highlandman, going through the glens and his kilt and everything. So I was watching a lot of whiskey channels, and a lot of them are American, German, Swiss, and so on. And of course, they don't speak Gaelic, and I don't expect them to. But it was just rubbing me up the wrong way. That they were pronouncing these whiskies phonetically as though they were English words. And it's like you can't do that.
Yeah.
So one of the I'm going to type a sentence in the side chat for an example.
Go ahead.
One of them was the Bunnahabhain whiskey, right? Which is one of my favourites in Islay, not Islay, right? It's one of my favourite whiskies. But I went through so many permutations and variations of Bunnahabhain, Bunnahabhain. And I was like, no, it's pronounced Bunnahabhain. And there's one in particular I like called Bunnahabhain Stúradar. But unless you speak Gaelic, you have no idea what that says. So people were taking these wild guesses at it, and these are like supposed experts on Scotch whiskey getting absolutely nowhere fucking near, and that just annoyed me. So I made it my mission to go around some of the bigger channels and say it's not Gaelic in Scotland, it's Gaelic. Irish is Gaelic or Gaeilge. They don't really say Gaelic in Ireland, it's Gaeilge. So just correct wee things, and say, just next time if you're going to review this whiskey again, this is the correct pronunciation, and this is, And some of them were like, oh, thanks for that, because I'm one of a handful of people who still speak the language. And if you're in Germany, I mean, how much contact are you going to have with native Gaelic speakers? But then it became like all pervasive, everywhere I went on these like whiskey channels with like hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And they were talking about as though they were experts, and they couldn't even fucking pronounce the name of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was driving me up the wall. And there was one video somebody sent me a link to, and it was a Business Insider, which was a huge channel at one point. Magazine.
I'm familiar with it.
Yeah. And there was a woman there who was their resident whiskey expert, and she sat there with this like really smug grin on her face. going like, this is how you pronounce these whiskies. And she got almost every one of them utterly wrong. You know? And there was one in particular, Glengarry, right? But she thought she was being really clever because, I can pronounce Gaelic words. But it's not Gaelic, it's Doric, which is a different language. And she's going, it's Glengarrioch. No, it isn't. It's Glengarry. Because you're reading it as though it was Gaelic and you're using the English phonetics pronunciation. And you couldn't be more wrong if you tried. You're not even close to it. So that I went, right, do you know what? I'm going to have to do something about this. You know? And so that's how I got onto that. It was just so annoying. You know? And then what some of the, not all of them, but some of the distilleries have started marketing their whiskey directly to the Eastern market, like China and Japan. And they're digging out these obscure phrases and terms from a language that's no one used really for like a couple of 100 years to sell this romantic notion again of Scotland. But I'll guarantee you, nobody in that distillery speaks Gaelic. You know, they've got a Gaelic to English dictionary, and they've searched through it for something. There's, I said before, the Bunnahabhain Stewardar. The stewardar is the helmsman of a boat. Right? And they sort of give it, there's this absolute shite they put on the label. You know, the salt in the sea spray, and as if there's anything romantic about getting frozen to death on a fishing boat and, you know, crashing and drowning on the rocks sort of thing. But they sell it as this, you know what I mean? But they sell it as this romantic thing. And no one's used the word stewardar for about 200 years.
Yeah.
You know,
they got this. They try and sell this idea that if you drink this whiskey, you're going to get a sudden urge to run up into the hills, put on a kilt, and paint yourself blue.
Exactly that. You take a wee sip of it and it transports you to the hills and glens and the islands of the west of Scotland. Absolute horseshit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but you do a lot of research on this stuff. Like you watch a lot of whiskey channels. How many of them do you think are actually proper connoisseurs of the drink?
Well, there's a few. There's Aquavite. That he knows his stuff. But the Gaelic for whiskey is Uiscivie, which is Aquavita, from the Latin Aquavita, which through various translations and filters became Uiscivie. So he knows his stuff. Ralphie knows his stuff, but he can be a bit of a snob sometimes. And there's a couple of, I can't remember, I'm going to rattle off all the names of the channels. But out of the maybe 100 or so that are kind of higher profile, there's maybe 5 that actually know what they're talking about, and they're not just repeating the shit they've read on the label or taken from other channels.
Yeah. It's really hard to tell who is actually a connoisseur, especially if you're one of those people like me who really doesn't know much about whiskey. So I would probably be led astray quite easily by a self-proclaimed expert.
Yeah, well, the only way to find out is to try them yourself, unfortunately, because of the import and export charges and markets and things. You might end up paying way more than the whiskey's worth.
Yeah, and a lot of times, don't you find that a lot of times these really good whiskeys, the export version has been, the recipe has been adjusted for the export?
Yes, there's a problem just now. It's been going on for a while in the Scotch industry, the whiskey industry, where they're using caramel colouring and chill filtering the whiskey, which does affect the taste. The caramel colouring doesn't, but the chill filtering process does. So, but they can't keep up with the demand. So they're pumping this stuff out and it's becoming generic. Just, it's baked beans. They're pumping out hundreds of thousands of litres of this stuff every few years because by law, whiskey has to be at least 3 years old. So what we're getting is bottles without an age statement on them. It'll just say Tam Navulun or Glenlivet or Lafroig or whatever it happens to be, but it won't say 5 years, 8 years, 10 years, 12, 15, 25. It'll just have the distillery name on it. And people are buying it because it's a Glenlivet. I like Glenlivet. Yeah, but that's a Glenlivet that's 3 years old. That's essentially new spirit. Well, they've covered it to look like whiskey. And they've chill filtered it to take all the oiliness out and all the texture because the Japanese market doesn't want that.
So all these years I've been pronouncing it wrong. I've been calling it Glenfiddich.
That's close enough. I mean,
that's my favorite.
Yeah, it's a good whiskey, the Glenfiddich. But Glenfiddich is a perfect substitute for Glenfiddich because if you don't speak Gaelic and you haven't grown up with that Loch Fiddich, that sort of sound, you can't do it, and it will sound forced if you try, and you'll just cover yourself in phlegm.
Yeah.
So I'm going to type this. Right, there's a sentence in the chat. There.
Okay, go for it.
Right, and if you get that, if you read it out.
Okay, it's coming through. There we go. Murray was bitten by a moray in Moray.
No, yeah. What it actually says is Murray was bitten by a moray in Murray.
Okay, explain.
Right. Murray, the name, right? Was bitten by a moray in Murray. Because Murray.
Oh, okay. How do you tell the difference between the animal and the name?
You have to be immersed in it. You have to be, see it on maps, see it on the news, the Murray Firth.
Yeah.
And all that. It's a place like the Murray Firth. There's a few distilleries up around that way.
Yeah.
But so you've got two pronunciations of Murray, which aren't the same, and two spellings of Moray, one of which is pronounced Murray.
Interesting. And that's kind of like the basis of where all these problems are coming from in the market of whiskey.
Yeah. Because there's Glen Murray, which is a nice whiskey. You get people saying, "Oh, I like the Glen Moray." There's no such fucking thing as Glen Moray. It's Murray. But unless you're immersed in it and you've been living in Scotland, and, you understand, because it just becomes second nature, then that just looks like Moray. So just those three words are all spelled the same. Some of them are pronounced the same, some aren't.
I gotcha.
So I get why there's confusion.
I can imagine. I mean, I watched that video and I tried to follow along, and I could only get about a third of the names right from what I could hear when I said it, repeating it. Well, it is a tough language to pronounce at times.
Yeah, because again, the rules of pronunciation you're used to in the Latin alphabet don't apply. So you try and read it phonetically. But then sometimes the D is a ch sound.
Yeah.
And sometimes the G is a k sound. But not always. So you'd have to know which words it applies to, which words it doesn't, by speaking the language and being immersed in it. So when you get these whiskey companies that call their whiskies, Glen Murray, whatever it happens to be, unless you understand the language, you're going to say Glen Murray Tla, and that's not how you pronounce it at all.
Yeah. It's kind of like your avatar. Everybody sees piss, but it's actually pish, right?
Yeah.
Or am I way off base here?
No, people in Scotland don't use the word piss unless we're saying, "Are you taking the piss?" Right?
Okay.
Or we say, "You're talking pish."
Ah. Okay, so that's just kind of a colloquialism then.
Yeah, it'd be like Americans or English speakers will say, "You're talking piss." We'll say, "Dinna tak pish."
Ah, okay.
Right.
So I guess Clive Wells is right. The Scots have a very unique way to pronounce things.
That's not funny, Clive. You know it's not funny. Actually, Sea Beagle's got it quite right underneath him. Achawan didn't
Okay.
fish.
Ach, I, ach, away and dunne tak pish.
Achawan didn't fish.
Ach, away dunne tak pish. See, I can't do it. I try and I try, but I can't do it.
Well, when people try and do a Scottish accent, they do Shrek.
Unless you're born with it, forget it.
Yeah, I mean, you get a few people who tried it in the movies, like Christophe Lambert, who did The Highlander. But
Cool.
He's French, and it was so bad.
Oh, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but everybody, say hello to my little sister. Hi, Hilda. Good to see you in the chat. Great to. Oh, wow, it's so cool to have you here. That's my little sister, and she loves the Scottish accent. So do I. Hello, Hilda.
Outlander.
Yeah. Shrek and Outlander.
Outlander's filmed just a couple of miles from where I live.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, isn't that cool?
Yeah. It's a little place called
and there. Hey, Dora. Nice to see you. I was wondering when you'd show up. You've been here a while, I guess. Sorry, Tusk.
Oh, no, go on, sure. Your sister showed up, you know.
Yeah, and Crafty is lurking. Hello, Crafty. How you doing, dear? How you feeling? Hope you're doing better. Huh? Hope you're feeling well. Can't wait till we're on the flip side tomorrow, dear. It's gonna be awesome. So Hilda, so do I. If I ever get the chance to go, I'm gonna go see my friend Tusk. He's so cool. And Taddy Bogle. I haven't seen. There's Taddy. Hey, Taddy, how you doing, mate? Great to see you, buddy. No, you weren't invisible, Dora. You weren't invisible at all. Yes, I was very entertained by Tusk. I'm always entertained by Tusk. That's why I love having him on. It's such a great guy to talk to. With that, there was something else I wanted to ask you, and I can't remember what it was now. Oh, yeah. We had a conversation privately on Discord earlier in the week. And remember what I was telling you about packaging? The Asians here, they love that packaging where they have a $5 bottle of whiskey. They stick it in a little wooden cart with a gold chain hanging from it and give it a nice fancy Gaelic name, and they sell it for like $20.
Yeah, that's infuriating.
Oh, but they're masters of it here in Asia. You should see some of the box sets you can buy to buy a bottle of cheap whiskey.
Because in the UK, we have a ban on alcohol advertising. You don't get any of that crap because they're not going to waste money putting in a fancy box and a bottle because they're not allowed to advertise it here.
Yeah,
but so for the overseas market, they go full on
hog wild.
You know, they're only one step away from putting a fucking kilt on the bottle. You know what I mean?
Exactly, or giving you a kilt in the box that you can put on when you drink it.
Yeah. But
that would be funny.
If you think you're paying, say $30 or the equivalent of $30 for a bottle of whiskey, 12 of those dollars are the box and the tax. 4 of those dollars are the bottle. So how much whiskey do you think you're actually getting for your money?
Yeah, not much.
Not much at all.
Not much.
You're getting.
And it's probably low grade whiskey too.
It will be. It almost certainly will be. There's a distillery, Loch Lomond Distillery. I'm getting a lot of feedback from you, Loch Lomond Distillery, where they just put out all the low grade stuff. It's more like a factory than a distillery. And they put out utter shit. That's what gets sent abroad a lot of the time and fancified.
Yeah.
So you buy a 10-year-old Loch Lomond, but it's just the shit they sell on the bottom shelf. It's been sat there for 10 years. It's not a special whiskey. It's just old bad whiskey.
Yeah. Yeah. Or whiskey they couldn't get rid of.
Yeah, so they send it up to Korea and Japan and China
Yeah.
because they don't know anything really about the whiskey over there. It's relatively new. So they fall for the marketing hype. The same way we do over here. You know, people in the UK love Japanese things and anime and manga and all that sort of a thing, and all like the accoutrements you get or the ephemera, and they snap it up thinking it's it's amazing, but it's stuff that the Japanese won't buy. Because they can see that it's crap.
Yeah. It's amazing.
But yeah, so this is how I got onto the whiskey thing. I'm going to try and dispel some of the myths and bring it back to reality. You're buying a bottle of alcohol. It's no more romantic than buying a bottle of bleach or a tin of baked beans. It's just a product. Don't fall for the market.
Or a tin of beer. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, sometimes I think the connoisseurs take it too far, and that drives the price up, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you've probably tried many kinds of whiskeys.
Right? Oh yeah, yeah.
So, if you had to choose, which one would you say was the top shelf?
My absolute favorite, or just
okay, your absolute favorite, or what you would call a top shelf.
The Bunnahabhain 12-year-old you can get just now for about £45. Is a fantastic whiskey for the money. I mean, you can go crazy money on whiskey. You get like standard bottlings that are just like £100-150, or you can go up to about 20,000 for the older ones. But easily obtainable whiskies at the moment, I would go with the Bunnahabhain 12-year-old. That's a fantastic whiskey for the money.
Cool. Well, I'm going to have to give that a try. I don't usually drink. I'm a non-drinker, but occasionally on special occasions, I will have a sip or two of something. And I do kind of like Glenfiddich, but I'll try that one out. I'm gonna see if I can find it here.
Now, if you can't find the 12-year-old, the Sturader is a very good substitute, and it's about $10 cheaper.
Okay.
But you can't taste that $10. It doesn't taste $10 cheaper.
Well, I'm not enough of a connoisseur to taste the difference between that and a $5 bottle of rot gut from the convenience store.
Oh no, you'll tell the difference. You'll be able to tell the difference. It's a marked
I probably could, but I wouldn't have that. I wouldn't have the sensitivity to all those nuances in the alcohol that you do.
Oh no, some of that is absolute horseshit as well.
Really?
Honestly.
Okay. Well, you see what I mean about being kind of misled by the so-called experts?
Yeah, you'll see on the bottle it will say, a subtle fruity arrival with hints of black pepper and rich stone fruit. Fuck off. It tastes like
fruity arrival. What? Go to the bus station?
Yeah. Hi.
Hello, there's the fruits. Hello.
But some of them they do have like subtle fruity notes if they've been matured in sherry casks or something, and you can taste that. That kind of subtle, kind of dried fruit sort of thing. But a lot of it, people going, oh yes, I can definitely taste white pepper, and no, you can't. Stop talking shit. It's like there was a few years ago, somebody I used to know set up a challenge for wine connoisseurs. The cork sniffers. The real wankers. It was a challenge, a blind taste test from cheap wine to expensive wine and everything in between. Every single one of them refused to do it. Because there's no way they would get it right. And they know they wouldn't get it right.
Yeah.
So, it's similar to like horoscopes. They talk about, you can definitely taste there's dried fruit. I can taste plums. No, you can taste fucking grapes. It's made of grapes. Stop talking about a wisp of cotton candy in there and, a bee flew past. And you know what I mean? It's absolute shit. But it's that romantic fucking nonsense they sell. But they're repeating it or they're making it up to make themselves sound unique. They give themselves a voice in the market. But every single one of them refused to do the blind taste test because they knew they would get found out.
Yeah. 300 years ago, it was a personal favorite of William Wallace. Trust me.
Oh yeah. Do you know what?
Bullshit.
See, when you go around Scotland and just walking tours or whatever, see every fucking cave, nook and cranny, every doorway. Oh, William Wallace hid here when he was fighting the English. No, he didn't.
Yeah, right. He was running his ass off in the hills trying to stay alive.
Yeah, he was being hunted. Do you know what I mean? Again, this idea that he was like hiding in a cave around his campfire, plotting his revenge. Yeah. No, he wasn't. He was a hunted man, and eventually they caught him and tortured and killed him. Nothing romantic about it. I mean, it was absolutely brutal.
Yeah. You know? Yeah. And how, now I got to ask you, someone who is much more well-versed in Scottish history than I am, in that movie, Braveheart,
yeah,
the ending where he was drawn and quartered, how accurate is that?
Yeah, he was drawn and quartered, and his body parts were paraded around. There was a warning to would-be usurpers. Okay. But the idea that he shouted "freedom" is
not likely.
Utter shit. He was screaming, begging for mercy, is what he was doing. Same as everybody else would when you're getting your internal organs ripped out by a hook. You know, I'm no expert, but that's going to sting.
Yeah, you won't be screaming freedom. You're going to be screaming fucking stop.
Yeah, it's the idea that you could articulate anything at all under such severe torture.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That movie is a gigantic pile of shit. There's about three historically accurate things in that movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess it's the epitome of a Hollywood dramatization.
Yeah. I mean, you've got one of Scotland's great heroes played by an Australian midget in Ireland. You're not going for authenticity. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's funny. That's
you can't expect too much from it.
That's funny as hell. An Australian midget in Ireland. Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh, Ireland gave the company the huge tax breaks to come and film there because they brought a lot of money. So they did. So we're like, hang on a fucking minute here. You know, this isn't. It's not even in Scotland.
Yeah. Are the mountain ranges even similar?
Well, Scotland and Ireland are very, very similar in their geography and the flora and fauna. You know, you could put a Scotsman in Ireland and vice versa, and we'd think we were home. You know, there's not a huge amount of difference. Although Ireland tends to have a richer, loamier soil, so they get a deeper green, which is why it's called the Emerald Isle. But again, in the mountains where there's very little like vegetation, you know, you could it could be anywhere really. So it didn't really matter, and they didn't do very many wide shots. It was all kind of close up. There wasn't a lot of landscape shots because anybody from there went, wait a fucking minute, you know, that's not Scotland. I know that mountain, you know. So they were very careful about doing that.
Oh, sorry. Dora says, why isn't Hilda? You have a point there. I'm sorry. Let me just remedy that right now.
Ooh, look at that. That's pure favoritism. That's corruption.
That's brotherly love.
That's nepotism. You know. That's pure nepotism.
There you go, Hilda. You got a wrench. Yeah, that's funny.
It's not what you know, it's who you know.
Well, in this case, you're absolutely right. I'm not going to argue the point. Absolutely not. So, but anyways, that's some interesting stuff. Getting into all that whiskey talk and the stuff behind it all, it's fascinating.
Well, I've got a part 2 coming up as soon as I can be bothered doing it.
You've got another one coming up? Awesome.
Yeah. Well, not coming up. There's just some of them. A lot of the whiskies, they'll just use the distillery name on the bottle, and that's fine. So you'll get Glenlivet 12, Lagavulin 12, 10, 18, whatever. But some of them, like Bruichladdich and Bunnahabhain and Arran and Talisker, give the bottlings like obscure and obsolete names that no one's fucking used for, like, you know, ever. You know, to sell that again, that shortbready Braveheart image of Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then they say, so people practice over and over to be able to, I can't even say it, like, to pronounce the name of the distillery. And they go, oh, I'll take the Talisker, and then look at the bottle and go, oh, for fuck's sake, what does that say?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it's the Talisker, whatever it happens to be. And it's like, there's no way you can pronounce that. I have difficulty with some of it because it's no one. The big problem with being a Gaelic speaker is there are very few other Gaelic speakers to speak to.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes we do actually have to take a bit of a guess at how some of the words are pronounced because no one uses it. No one's used the term for a long, long time. So we can infer it, you know, you can say, okay, that's a V sound, that's an U sound, so we can get quite close.
Mm-hmm.
But not always.
Well, in your estimation, then, how long do you think it'll be before Gaelic is completely extinct and dead?
Gaelic, you mean? I'm not.
Or Gaelic, I'm sorry.
There's no such language as Gaelic.
Oh, I'm learning.
I think almost died in the kind of 1970s, 1980s, where Scotland was trying to present itself as a more progressive country and, you know, leave its past behind.
Yeah.
So Gaelic was banned in the schools. You couldn't speak it. You know, there was no funding or anything for Gaelic speaking schools. But there's been something of a renaissance in the last maybe 20 years where there are Gaelic schools now. You got me saying it, Gaelic schools. And you know,
I'm rubbing off on you.
you most certainly are not. It's not that kind of party.
Oh, well.
Not had nearly enough whiskey for that.
Well, it's a good thing, I guess, that there is a bit of a revival happening.
A revival. We do have, in Ireland, they have a thing called the Gaeltacht, where it's an area where you can only speak Gaeilge. That's the law, right? Everybody speaks Gaeilge and no one speaks English. And there is a move to, hang on, you've got a porn bot, I'm just going to hide that. In Scotland, there'll be a Gaeltacht. Well, they're trying to set one up. But it'll be a small enclave in the northeast or the northwest of Scotland where you can, everything has to be in Gaelic. But people take exception to being told what they have to do, especially the Scots and Irish were famous for not taking anybody's shit and being told what to do. And a lot of people in Scotland are slightly embarrassed by that image of Scotland. You know, the Gaelic speaking kilt wearing, you know, haggis muncher. It's seen as kind of old fashioned and a wee bit kind of twee and tacky. So, but there are people who are fighting against that, you know. And in the Scottish Parliament, occasionally somebody will come in and will give their entire speech in Gaelic. And there'll be translators there.
Yeah.
So, and Google has at last, eventually, after like so long, got both Scots and Irish translations.
Ooh,
but they're not
that's
great.
Interesting.
They're not great, but it doesn't give you anything about the pronunciation, only the spelling.
Yeah, but at least it's something to help keep the language alive because it is an integral part of your history. You know, it should be kept alive.
Yeah, but say Clive's asking, will it ever become extinct? Probably, yeah. Probably.
Yeah. The question is when.
World,
you know.
Yeah, the whole world speaks English. You know, that's the lingua franca, pretty much of the entire globe. So
it's a language of business.
Yeah, no matter where you go, there's English speakers there. You won't find like many Dutch speakers in Korea, but you'll find English speakers there. You won't find French speakers in Brazil, but you'll find English speakers there.
Yeah, and my sister says the Dutch are working on strengthening Dutch too. There's a real fear of it dying out, and yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a shame, but it's you know the band Rammstein.
No, I'm not familiar with them.
Well, they're a German band, and they sing in German most of the time, you know. but they've got a song called America. And one of the lyrics says, "This is not a love song. I don't speak my mother tongue. We're all living in America." So you get people all around the world who don't speak their mother tongue. They speak American English that they've learned from movies and music.
Yeah.
And the whole world is becoming like a fucking drive-through.
Mm.
Everything's cool. Everybody's bro and dude.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, my sister says no way. No, no to McDonaldization of the world. Keep your kilts and haggis.
Absolutely. I don't want to live in McScotland.
Mm.
You know, any more than you want to live in McHolland or McCanada or McJapan.
Yeah.
But we're going that way.
Exactly.
You know?
It's even here in Vietnam now.
Yeah. Well, the last time I was in Vietnam, I could see that insidious encroachment of like Western culture. Not as just like little bits here and there, but you could hear it in the way people spoke, the way they dressed, the way they acted. Everybody was high-fiving and calling each other bro. And it's like, what the hell is this? You know? But
I've been here for nearly 20 years, and I've seen some big change. But when I first came here, the only thing you really saw from the States was KFC.
Yeah.
That was the big thing, you know? And then over the years, we started seeing other ones come in, like Burger King was the first one to come in after KFC. Then we had Subway come in, and now McDonald's is here. And more of the bigger chains are starting to show up, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
I remember.
Still, people are looking for the Vietnamese food when they come here.
Yeah, but what you end up getting is Western versions of Vietnamese food.
That's the danger, you know?
Take out the more complicated flavors and more challenging ingredients, maybe. So you get a very bland, westernized version of Vietnamese food.
Yeah, and that's why we did the Minh Ga video, because that's the traditional method of preparing it. That's how it's really done. That's the real thing. It's not the Americanized version.
Do you know what occurred to me? Just because I was thinking about it and going, it was close to the flavors I remember, but not exact. And I spent a long time, as I spoke to about this, you and other people about this at length, trying to find the real, authentic, proper Minh Ga. But then it occurred to me that Van and Tan didn't make a proper, authentic Minh Ga because they couldn't get the ingredients any more than I could. So I didn't get an authentic, proper Vietnamese Minh Ga. I got one made with chicken stock. And you know what I mean?
Exactly
so I
right. You're exactly
right. Hunting it down, asking you if you could help me out with it and make it and everything. And you gave me, Pearl did a wonderful job when I cooked it and it tasted great.
Yeah.
But it's not what I remember because what I ate wasn't an authentic Minh Ga. And it wasn't until after I'd made it I realised they'll have used chicken stock cubes because they couldn't get like bamboo shoots dried, fresh or tinned. So they had to use what they could. They didn't get Shaoxing, so they had to use what they had. So, but it was still delicious.
Oh yeah, I mean, but like you said, it's hard getting some of those ingredients where you are because that dried bamboo, that is very difficult to export here because of pest control and that kind of thing. So it's really hard to get it out of the country and export it to other countries unless it's freeze dried or dehydrated and vacuum packed and certified and checked, and it makes it really expensive. So that's probably why you can't find it there.
No. Well, there's a few. I think I've got maybe half a dozen Asian grocers within walking distance of me, and I can get most things. But they say it's like the bamboo shoots. You can buy them whole and brine and vacuum packed, but they're only like a couple of pounds each, so it's really not worth importing it. So it's kind of difficult to get because you've got to go through import, export, packaging, check for pest and blah blah blah, and they can only sell it for a couple of quid. So what's the fucking why bother?
Exactly.
So
exactly.
We get the Amoy brand, tinned sliced ones, which we've become used to.
Yeah. Yeah.
know.
Yeah. But
And
like you said, even with the tinned ones, if you add a little bit of something to it to get that umami back, you're pretty much okay. You're pretty
well,
close to the
yeah,
mark.
that's when I made my version of the minga. I put some Shaoxing in just to give
Hmm.
it that umami, fermented taste
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
it'd be missing otherwise.
Yeah.
But
And
you have to be careful with that
the
stuff. Yeah.
the type and brand of fish sauce that you use also makes a big difference.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I tend to use Squid brand because that's the kind of
Yeah.
the one I've found.
Can you get chinsu there?
No, well, I
Okay.
can, but only if I go to. There's a gigantic Asian market in
Yeah.
Glasgow called Siwu, and I can get these
Hmm.
things there, but it's not readily available. Whereas here,
Yeah.
I can go
Yeah.
to Hing Sing or Qingyang, and I can pick up
Hmm. Because
the Ko
yeah,
Li or whatever it is, the kind of generic brands.
yeah. Because
But
chinsu
the
tends to be
higher
the
end
one
stuff,
we use here. Yeah.
yeah,
Or low.
there's
Yeah.
not a huge market for it. So, I
No,
mean,
of course there wouldn't be.
if I go into Pat's Chongyin, there's probably 10 people that would use fish sauce that use that shop frequently. Do you know what I mean? Because there's no Scottish or UK
Yeah.
recipes that call for it. So you tend just to get the generic like Squid brand or
Yeah.
Ko Li or something like that, which
Yeah.
is all it's good enough,
Yeah, it does a job, of course. Eddie wants to know KFC for dinner.
Well, today I went into the shop and I got some smoked haddocks, some mussels, and some oysters because I was going to do a
Ooh.
paella. But I can make the
Ooh.
paella today and we can have it tomorrow. But
Wow.
I don't want to keep shellfish
Hmm.
uh, too long, a day or two at most. But the
Hmm.
oysters will survive. I mean, I can cook them and then I can serve it up tomorrow, maybe.
Hmm.
But if we're going to get
That sounds good.
KFC, Etty always gets the same thing from KFC.
Hmm.
Always, always, always.
I don't
And
mind KFC once in a while.
yeah, it's not. I like fried chicken,
Hmm.
but I don't know if it's a
Yeah.
treat.
Well,
And Mhm.
Pearl does her version of KFC, and she does a pretty good job. But she uses panko instead of the flour, so
Yeah,
it's got that really crunchy,
that
crispy,
crunchy.
crumbly
Yeah,
kind of. Yeah.
that sakuto, like
Yeah. It's really
super
good.
crunchy. I think
Yeah.
I've actually got some panko. I usually do, but when I
Mhm.
make my fried chicken, dust it in like MSG seasoned flour, custard powder, egg
Mhm.
back into the flour, then panko,
Mhm.
then egg, then panko. So you've got 4 or 5 layers. So you
Yeah.
flash fry it, take it out, dry it, fry it again, until the
Yeah.
panko starts to come off. As soon as the panko comes off, out it
Yeah.
comes. And it is
Yeah.
delicious, but it's so time consuming for something that only lasts like 2 bites.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. But anyways, with that in mind, I think it's time for me to play that video I've been
Oh, the
promising
flowers.
everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to that.
So, and I'm out of coffee. I need another coffee, so I'm going to go quickly grab a coffee, and I'm going to play that video for you guys. Now, I promised that I would get you the footage of the flower display for this year's Tet holiday. It's really nice, but it's not as elaborate and over the top as we've had in previous years. I think mostly because of the lurgy, and getting into seat, you have to go through the hand washing, the temperature check. You got a QR code into the health ministry, and so there's kind of a process to get in. But we were able to get in and walk through and take some really nice video. So I just put it to music. No commentary from me. I just put it to music so you guys can enjoy it. And I'll run that now. I'm going to go grab a coffee, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about Tusk's adventures in Vietnamese cuisine and whatever else comes up. So here's the video, guys. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you in about I think about 8 minutes. So enjoy it. And there you go, folks. Hope you enjoyed that. It's a little bit long, I know, but it's like 8 or 10 city blocks you have to cover to get from one end to the other. So it took a bit. But I hope you enjoyed that. And again, in future, as I'm booting around town when I have time, I'll try and grab footage and make these little videos to play during our live stream for all of you guys who just want to see more of Vietnam. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you enjoyed seeing Pearl at the end of it. Isn't she lovely? She's just wonderful. So yeah, we got a few new arrivals also. Zebulon at 181. Good to see you, buddy. Welcome, welcome. Archangelus Lune is here. Welcome, sir. Good to see you. And I think I noticed Chris Durham earlier. It's great to see you always. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. So back to Tusk,
Hello.
sir. Yeah. So tell us about your experience in recreating the Minga, and what was the result? How did you react to it? How did Eddie like it? Yeah, just
Yeah.
just give us a scoop. What was it like?
Well,
Was it difficult or?
no, it wasn't difficult because I say I'm well versed in um, that kind of cuisine anyway. And that's what I specialised in. Like, well, Western versions of these things, kind of.
Hmm.
So I wasn't phased. I mean, I know a lot of people, they see ingredients like, dried bamboo shoots and things like that, but like, what the
Hmm.
hell, But things like this I'm used to. And I
Yeah.
was so excited once you posted the video. I was watching it while I was getting dressed to go to my local Asian grocer to get what I needed.
Hmm.
And fortunately, I go there quite a lot, so they know me, and they're quite willing to put up with my terrible attempts at speaking Mandarin. So, and they're quite patient with me, and they know
Hmm.
they know I know what I'm doing. I'm not just coming in going, oh, I saw a video on YouTube and I need blah blah blah. So I say we're in there all the time, and but I
Yeah.
had a good long chat with them. And I told them I was making the main guy and why I needed the dried bamboo shoots. You don't use them. These are the best ones. Use this particular brand. The salted ones, add a little xiao sheng, and so on and so on.
Yeah.
So I came back, and Etty doesn't particularly like chicken on the bone. So I thought I'm going to have to modify it a little, but that's fine because, as you know, if you ask 100 people for their mean ga recipe, you'll get 100 recipes. So that was
Yeah.
okay.
Absolutely.
And I had to cheat a little bit because no one had glass noodles in stock, so I had to use rice noodles. But it doesn't really affect the flavour, just the
No, it
texture a
doesn't.
little bit. It's
Yeah.
difficult to find glass noodles here because that is, as you know, real kind of dirt poor peasant food, and
Yeah.
it's difficult to find them because there's no market for them here.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
so
Yeah, but
people will look at it and say, "I'm not.
the
What the
plain
hell's that?"
rice noodles will do. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can get them. We have a adopted family, a couple of extended family members who are Malaysian, and
Hmm.
they go occasionally, and they'll bring me. He's going to get caught one of these days. He smuggles things back, like he'll put like papaya in his shoes and his suitcase and things like that, like little green papaya and things like you can't get here and stuff. And
Yeah.
he's going to get caught one day. He really is. But they go over. I think they have a rubber plantation over there. Their family owns a rubber plantation,
Hmm.
and I'll actually tell you about that. Just they have a law on the plantation where you're not allowed to kill the cobras because they keep the snakes down, the rats down,
Yeah.
and the rats do terrible damage to the crops. They grow sugar cane as well, and you get
Hmm.
fined $1 if you kill a cobra.
Hmm.
So when Krishna goes over, it's his brother owns it. He's terrified of snakes, right? And he walks around with like high leg Wellington boots on and a machete, ready, like hack on. But there's cobras come up and they bask on the patio of the main house and all that because they know they're
Yeah.
safe. They're not afraid of humans, and they don't attack
Yeah.
humans because there's no reason to. And they're well
Hmm.
fed on rats in any case. But he spends the entire time he's there, and we're talking in like 100, 110 degrees like
Mm.
100% humidity, walking around with essentially fishing waders on in case he gets bitten by a cobra. And he hates it. He absolutely hates it.
Somebody needs to tell him that cobra fangs will go through willies pretty quickly.
Yeah, but he feels safe because he
Yeah,
thinks, well, I've got some protection. But there's
yeah.
people, there's the workers there, just go around in, their bare feet or their sandals. You know how it is. It's so hot. And if there's a
Mhm.
cobra on their chair, they just pick it up and, put it on the
Mhm.
floor. And he's out with like this 10-foot pole trying to flick these things off. It's like, they're not going to bite you. They've been
Yeah,
eating rats all day. You're fine. But yeah, so
yeah.
when
I
he
know
goes
what you
over,
mean.
he
Here
brings
in
back,
Vietnam, here in Vietnam, a real delicacy is to drink snake wine.
oh yeah,
But
yeah,
before you drink the wine, you eat the beating heart of a cobra. Like they cut it out,
yeah,
it's still beating.
yeah. I've saw that.
Eat that, and
I
then you
saw that
drink the
one
snake
in a
wine.
bar. It was a kind
Whew.
of, there was a, I can't remember, well, the bar's probably gone by now because, Vietnam, as you know, has changed so much since
Yeah,
in the last 20 years that I
yeah,
probably
they're
wouldn't
cracking down
recognise
on
it
that
anymore.
more now.
Yeah. But it was a bar, it was full of American tourists and sailors that doing that macho bro thing,
Yeah,
and eat the beating heart. And it's like, well, why? What's the point of that? It's just a piece of meat,
yeah. But they
And
they 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 associate it with virility and manliness, and you know,
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I'll not get into
yeah.
that. I've a real issue with that kind of traditional medicine, you know. And it's it's the doctrine of signature.
Yeah,
If something looks like a willy, and if you eat it,
uh,
it's for
yeah.
virility and all the rest of it. And there needs to be a process of modernization and medicine over in that end
Yeah.
of the world because a lot of diseases could be quite easily cured with a course of antibiotics rather than
Mm,
having ginseng and
yeah.
these like
How often,
traditional remedies.
how often have you been to Vietnam, and how long
Well,
ago?
about 15 to 20 years ago, I had a short
Mhm.
burst where I was going to Cambodia, Vietnam, and Singapore
Thailand?
about twice a year. Yeah, I was doing that kind of tourist trail,
Yeah.
really just to steal recipes, to be honest
Mhm.
with you, and to try and immerse myself a bit more into it
Well,
because
we might
it's,
have another one coming up for you, actually. I don't
yeah.
know when, but I think Pearl is planning on doing Vietnamese style chicken curry, which is
Oh,
really delicious. So
fantastic.
when she does that, we're going to film it and make another video for you.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah, with sweet potato, and she uses corn milk or not corn, coconut milk.
Yeah, I've
It's
got
wonderful. It's
a cupboard full of
absolutely
coconut milk.
wonderful.
Yeah. Every
You
time
know?
there's a special on in the supermarket, like 2 for 1 coconut milk, I
Mhm.
just fill up my trolley with it because I use it
I
a lot.
Yeah, I know it. I can't get enough of this stuff.
Yeah. So
I think we have someone in the chat who's been to Vietnam. Zebulon 181. He says, "Can you say 333?"
Coconut milk in our house.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm looking at that saying, I don't speak with
That's
an
a
Irish accent, so I'm just going to say 333.
that's basically a local Vietnamese beer.
Oh yeah,
That's the name of the beer. You remember that beer? It's not bad. It's
yeah.
kind of your
It's not bad.
basic,
It's a rice beer, isn't
convenience
it?
store beer, but quite
Yeah,
popular. And in
yeah.
Vietnamese, it's actually pronounced ba ba ba.
Ba ba ba.
Yeah, ba ba ba.
Yeah. See, I've not been to Vietnam for quite a long time, but
Well, I
again,
sure.
it'll have changed so much.
Well, it has. But you know, the things that you remember from when you were here are probably still the things you're going to see if you come today. Just new things added.
Well, there's something in your video there. There is something that I noticed straight away, and it's one of the first things I saw when I came
Mm.
into Ho Chi Minh was Pepsi signs everywhere on the
Yeah,
umbrellas
yeah,
outside the bars, and then that's
yeah,
in your video
absolutely.
there in the flower display. First thing I noticed was somebody
They're
with
everywhere.
A Spider-Man
They're
handbag
everywhere.
standing next to a Pepsi sign.
Yeah, but one
But again,
some of the there's been a lot of modernization and improvement here in Vietnam, like modern buildings and technology and stuff like that. they've really come up over the past almost 20 years. But
Yeah.
in that process, you're getting a lot of the local Vietnamese businesses trying to Englishify the names of their stores and stuff. And
Yeah.
some of them are just unbelievable. There's one in Hanoi I saw where they wanted to combine the word art and fashion. So
Oh,
they
you did
call,
not.
they called the shop Fartchen. And you see stuff like that all over the place. It's funny. They really try. You got to give them that. But it's just so funny, you know?
Yeah, there's a site, I'm sure you've saw it, called English.com.
Mm,
And it's about attempts from people in like Japan, Vietnam, Cambodia, and so on, Singapore,
yeah.
to make signs in English, but they don't have a direct translation, so they go like
Yeah.
Vietnamese to German to English. And you're, what the fuck
I
does that
just come
even
up. You come up with the strangest things, but
Yeah.
you got to give them credit for trying. So that's cool. But I just find it funny.
There's a place. This is completely off subject. Well, not really. There's a place in Ireland called Muff Barbers. Right? There's a little town called Muff, right? And the
Oh
barbers in the
man,
high street is called Muff Barbers because it's in Muff and it's a barber.
a lot of diving going on there.
Yeah. It's just one of those little idiosyncrasies, It's like they just look at you with that innocent, like, what? What's the problem?
That's funny. That really is funny. What are some of the really outstanding things that you remember about your trip to Vietnam?
Oh, so many things. The heat was the first thing that hit me.
Yeah, well,
And
yeah.
yeah, the smells and the friendliness of the people. Everybody was there to help.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we were quite clearly not Vietnamese. There's no two ways about it. And we were kind of wandering around lost. And everybody we spoke to, if they didn't speak English, they would do their best, or they would take us to somebody who did speak English. They knew someone who spoke English
Yeah.
nearby, like a shopkeeper or a bar owner or something.
Uh-huh.
And they would so helpful. I mean,
Yeah.
a couple of my friends went just to catch up with us, like a week or so after we had left. But they got a last minute flight, and it was like, let's go. They hadn't booked anything, they hadn't done anything properly.
Mm-hmm.
And they got there, and so they get them at the airport nearest town, and they're trying to find somewhere to stay. And they found somebody who spoke English, and they say, we're on holiday, we need a hotel somewhere to stay. And he went, oh, yeah, come with me. And they had a car. So they went into his car, and he drove out of town into the kind of more countryside and started going up this long, winding jungle road. And they thought, oh, we're dead.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy's going to take us out and mug us, murder us in the jungle.
Mm-hmm.
So they got into this little village, and they get out, and they went up into his house, got his wife and his kid, and he went across to turns out it was his brother lived on the other side of the street. And they said,
Mm-hmm.
okay, there you go. And they charged him something like $50 to stay in the house for a week, where he lived across the road with his brother. And he was like, it was just like, he saw an opportunity to make some money, but it was like, they thought they were going to get like chopped to pieces and buried in the jungle, and ended up staying in this guy's home, and they come over every day to make sure they were okay, and and things like that. So one of the main things I just found is actually it's probably this is just from my own bias, because it didn't look anything like I expected, because my experience of Vietnam up until that moment was the movies, and it was nothing like
it.
all.
No, nothing like
so
it.
Modern. Everybody was. I could be anywhere in the world at some points.
But you were mostly in the southern part of the country, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you ever do make it back here, you let me know, okay, mate? Because you've got to see the Central Highlands and the North. There's some
absolutely.
really interesting stuff. You know.
Yeah, I will make it back over. It's definitely on. I hate the phrase bucket list, but it's definitely something. Once
Yes.
the world's back to something approaching normality,
Yeah.
that's one of the first things I want to do.
Well, you have got to let me know when that happens, man,
Yeah.
because I'm not letting you go without seeing you, without taking you about.
Oh, absolutely. I want to see that part of the world again before it's gone forever, before it
Yeah.
becomes so generic and homogenous. I want to
Yeah.
see it before it's gone.
Yeah. And there's
Yeah.
still a lot to be seen. All of
Oh
that
yeah,
great modernization is really only happening in the bigger cities. The towns and the villages and the central part of the country are still very much the same as they were 20 years ago. So,
yeah. That's what I love. That's why I say we went across there. Not I say to steal recipes. It was really
mm,
just to immerse ourselves in it because what we can make here, like the takeaway food, is very
mhm.
westernized, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
And so we're like, okay, this is good. I think it tastes good to me, but it was because it was flavors I recognized: sweet, sour, salty, spicy, in the correct
Mhm.
quantities. But then I went
Mhm.
across and street food, and it's too
Mhm.
salty or it's too sweet for our tastes. It
Mhm.
has a flavor in there you don't recognize.
Yeah.
There's mystery meat on your stick, and you're like, what the hell is this?
Well,
You
that's
know,
the beauty. That's the beauty of Vietnamese food. The flavors you never knew existed. You
yeah,
know.
I felt I'd been cheated.
Yeah.
Having spent years eating this,
Yeah.
takeaway crap, and
Mm,
that's not what Vietnamese food tastes like at all.
yeah. I mean, people look at me strange when I put a squeeze, like I squeeze half a lime into my min ga or into my pho. The difference it makes is unbelievable.
Yeah, I do that all the time with my any spicy food, like curry
Yeah.
noodle dishes. A lime. Etty doesn't particularly like it, but it lifts the flavour so
Oh,
much.
does it ever? Does it
Yeah,
ever?
but it's
Absolutely.
like it's like putting salt on a steak. It doesn't taste like salt. It tastes more like steak.
Yeah.
So if you've
Yeah.
got a good pho,
Exactly.
you put some lime juice in.
Exactly.
It's the combination of the MSG and the lime juice in there.
Hmm.
It's fantastic.
It
Just
is.
that, but we're not used to that flavour in the West. So this is something like it's just becoming a new thing. You go to like a curry house and they'll
Hmm.
give you like a wedge of lime. But some people would
Yeah.
think it's just for decoration and they'll take it off and put it to
No.
the side. No,
No.
squeeze it on top.
It's
It's
there for a reason, man. Use it. You won't regret it.
Yeah, but we've got that thing, when you get your dessert in the West and they put a fucking mint leaf on it. The first thing
Yeah.
you do is
Well.
take it off and throw it away. So we're
Yeah.
used to decoration, this adornments. So you think, what is
Hmm.
this for? Why they put lime on my curry? So they throw it away. They're like, no, you dumb bastard. That's a condiment. You're supposed to use it.
That's right. It's part of the dish. It's the way it ought to be made. So,
Yeah. I say Etty's not a
but
big
yeah,
fan of lime. That's your
yeah,
loss. Yeah.
we do have plans for more. Like I said, the next one hopefully is going to be the Vietnamese chicken curry, and then
Oh
what's
yeah.
next? I don't know yet, but whatever it
Well,
is, it's going to be
yeah.
properly
Some
made
yeah.
traditionally by Pearl.
Yeah. Well, I do have a small bone to pick with you there on that, actually.
Okay, go ahead.
You showed me up so badly with the quality
Oh
of the
no,
editing of your
really?
video. Yeah, I
Oh,
just kind of half
that
arse mine, like the
that
table's
was
all
not
shaky, the camera doesn't focus. Do you know what I mean?
that was that was not the intention. That's just me being me.
Oh
That's
yeah.
you know,
Because I
but
was watching it and I was like, "Oh, you bastard!
I
You've
still
made me
enjoy
look like a
yours.
rank amateur."
Well, no, because you just have your style, and I enjoy it. I really do. I look forward to each and every one of those. I can't wait till you come up with another one.
Well, I
I
might
really do enjoy them.
I might do the paella tonight. I don't know, but it's very simple, isn't it? It's just rice and
You know
seafoods
what?
and
Simple is
lime.
better. Simple is better, I think. You
Sometimes
know,
and
for
somebody was
for all for all the the kerfuffle people make about Michelin star quality, haute cuisine. Bullshit. Give me a
Bollocks.
bowl of pho.
Yeah, just make stop fucking about and putting petals on my
Yeah,
plate and fucking. Do you know what I mean?
that's right.
Like
Just give me my
fucking
meat and
dry
potatoes
ice.
and leave me alone.
There's a chef in the UK called Heston Blumenthal. Well, he was in
Mm,
the UK. I think he's left now, and he did all that. Where he'd take like freeze dry everything and fucking and just it
yeah,
was very scientific down to the molecular
yeah,
level and rebuilding food from the ground up. But it's just soup, or it's what I mean.
Eh,
It's just fried chicken. You might
yeah,
have broken got the
yeah.
flavors exactly right, and the tiny like variations of salt and sweet. But for fuck's sake, man, who can taste that? You know, he
Yeah,
did some
it's just
amazing
overpriced
things.
tosh.
Yeah, yeah. You go into like these high end, and I've worked in some high end restaurants, and somebody will come in and they'll say, "Oh, I want the fillet steak or whatever it is," and the chef will put on, like this tiny little medallion of fillet surrounded in like shredded cabbage leaves, flowers, and this reduction of it's like and they're charging them 30-40 pounds for about £3 worth of food.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? And you go for a meal, you spend 200 quid and you leave hungry.
yeah.
It was the fucking point of that. You know?
Yeah, I mean, when it's all said and done, the portion you get on the plate is like a dot in the middle of this
Yeah.
huge white.
I mean, I know
You
Etty
know,
about this sometimes. She says, "Oh, can we she wants KFC," and I say, "We've got KFC at home. I can
yeah. I mean,
do
why?
that. Why
What?
would I go there? You know?"
Yeah, why did you give me a knife and a fork? I can just eat it all in one lick off the plate.
Yeah. And I do like sometimes, just getting okay, I'm going to make this look nice, but it has
Yeah,
to be a substantial portion at the same time. I'm not
yeah.
going to give you like a dirty plate and go, ta-da!
Ta-da!
That's your dinner, and you're looking like a smear of cauliflower reduction.
Oh God,
You know the
I
eyes of
know.
a John Dory deep fried and fucking absolutely awful. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I had some friends who went down that route. I've met in kitchens and things and
Uh-huh.
culinary schools, and they get really involved in all that. And I said, when you're putting someone's dinner on a plate and you're using tweezers and a magnifying glass to place it right, you've gone down the
Hmm.
wrong fucking route here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But people expect that, they want the name chef to, overcharge them and be rude to them. And you
yeah.
complain
I know.
about how did you find
Yeah.
your steak? Oh, it was easy. I just moved a pea to the left and there it is. You know?
Oh, I know. Some of it is so pretentious. It's just
But then
unbelievable.
there's a market for it, I suppose. But
Well, yeah, of course.
I just find it
They,
ridiculous that people are paying all this money
well, yeah,
for.
they wouldn't be doing it if there wasn't people who wanted it. You
Yeah,
know?
it was who was that? Fucking, I've forgotten his name now. He was just a flash in the pan. He was selling steaks for like £1,000 and stuff because they were covered in gold and
Oh
you
God, I can't
know.
remember.
And you go to
Yeah.
his restaurant and you buy like a T-bone steak that's now he does this thing where he rolls it down his fucking arm or something. It's all theatre. Somebody will know
Oh.
his name. But he made an absolute fortune from idiots who were spending 2.5 grand on a 3-course meal. And then by
Hmm.
the time you leave the tip for that, you know, you're up to like nearly £3,000. No, you've had steak and fucking chips. You can go into the shop and buy that steak for like $30-40. Fucking cook
Hmm.
it yourself.
Well,
It's been
I'll, a little bit of interesting trivia. My younger sister in the chat, Hilda, when she was going through uni, she worked as a cook or maybe a chef in a Mexican restaurant. That
Oh,
girl can cook some Mexican, let me tell you.
I do love Mexican food.
Yeah, yeah, she did that for quite a few years. Got herself through uni doing that.
So,
Yeah.
without doxing, Your sister, does she live still in Canada or is she in Holland?
No,
Or...
she lives in Dubai.
Oh, in Dubai. Oh,
Yeah,
I saw her mention Dubai earlier, so yeah.
Yeah, she lives in Dubai. She's in education, like I am, but much farther advanced than I am. Um, I don't know, Hilda, in the chat, are you still working on your master's for distance education? I think that's what she was working on the last time I spoke to her. Yeah, smart as a whip, that girl. I swear to God, I learned so much from talking to her. Yeah, just
I,
wait
did,
for her to answer. Yeah,
I was a few years ago because my law qualifications weren't really working out for me. Thinking about moving abroad and becoming an ASOL teacher, because there's always work if you want to teach English around the world.
Yes,
but that came with a couple of problems. Like, one, I don't really speak English, and no one wants to learn English from someone with such a strong
tell you.
Glaswegian accent. Yeah.
The company I work for, we've got somewhere in the neighborhood of 350 teachers. 2/3 of them are Irish and Scottish.
I have a couple of friends who they go around like southern Spain, the Canary Islands, and that kind of area, and they do refining, because most people speak English there because of the tourists anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But they give them it's more kind of to refine the language rather than just the basic conversational. In the end, you get paid well enough, and you're essentially on holiday. Because, for us, anytime the sun's out, we treat that as a holiday.
I guess you would, huh?
Yeah, we've got our own version in Scotland of weather, one that no one else in the world uses, and it's called taps off.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so if the sun's out, it's taps off. That means take your top off, walk around getting sunburnt, and just assume that you've been given the day off work, and probably tomorrow as well when you wake up hungover and sunburned or in jail.
Well, I guess for you folks, that's kind of a treat, though, isn't it?
Well, Scotland isn't the sunniest place in the world, let's be honest, right? But when it is, it's beautiful beyond description.
Yeah.
If you go down south to the borders around Dumfries and Galloway, there's a lovely silvery quality to the light coming through the sea air. But then you go up north, you get that golden, like, it's difficult to describe unless you've seen it, because there's a purple tinge to everything from the heather and the pollen and everything. And when you get like a Scottish sunset in the valleys and the glens, where the golden sunlight hits the purple heather against the granite rock, it is stunning beyond words. But that can be 3 or 4 times in a year. That will happen.
Yeah.
That the conditions are just right. Most of the time, it's pretty fucking grim. That's just the way of it.
Well,
so anytime, it's like people, we've had friends that say, "Oh, where are you going?" Say, "Oh, I'm going to go working in like North Africa teaching English." We go, "Oh, you lucky bastard, you're on holiday." "No, I'm working." "No, the sun's out, you're on holiday."
You're on holiday.
Yeah. It doesn't matter how hard you have to work.
Exactly.
It's better than here. And we're also probably the only country in the world that quantifies how good a holiday destination is by the price of the beer. People say, "Oh, you went to Vietnam. How was it?" "Oh, it was great. It was only £1 a pint."
Well, there you go.
That's the first thing people will say.
And it's really, it's not that much more now. The price hasn't gone up all that much. You can still get a beer pretty cheap here.
Yeah, we'll book a holiday. Say we're going to like Vietnam, just for example again. You say, right, okay, the flight's really expensive because it's a long haul flight. It's going to cost me like 800 quid return. The hotel's pretty cheap. I can stay there like £200 for the week. You go say that. So give it £1,000 for your flight and your hotel. and then you'll see how much you've got left to spend on beer. And if the beer's if the beer's too expensive, you'll go somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
so
here-
we'll say, oh, it was great. It was only £1 a pint, and that's how we quantify how good the holiday was.
Well, it's pretty cheap here. I'll tell you that. You can drink your way through Vietnam and still not spend all that much.
Well, I don't. I know people might find this like a little unbelievable, but I don't actually drink that much, and I don't drink that often.
Mm.
Well, not I don't get drunk very often. You know, I like my single malts and everything, have a couple of beers, but I never go, oh, let's get pissed and go to the pub, go to a bar or whatever, and just I don't do that.
Yeah.
But I found when I was in Vietnam, Thailand, and so on, I was drinking so much because the beer was cheaper than water, and it was you were sweating so much that you weren't getting drunk no matter how much you drank. You down a few like beers, and then a few more. So I've drank 10 beers, but you weren't
Mhm.
not even slightly tipsy because it was just like survival mode, having to throw liquid down our throats. That was probably the first week till we got acclimatized to the heat and the
Well,
humidity that we were just. It was impossible to stay hydrated.
my sister loves your English.
Okay, thanks for that. I can switch to Gaelic if you'd prefer, but then that's it. No one will understand a single word I say.
Probably. Oh man. But we've. Let's see. What time is it? Oh, okay. All right, everybody. I'm going to put up a puzzle. I haven't done that in a while, so I'm going to put up the puzzle, and anybody who can give me an answer that's correct, you could possibly be on the show with me next week if you want to be. You're not required to, but it sure be nice. So yeah, here's the puzzle, and if you think you know what it means, just type it in the side chat. Bada bing, bada boom. There you go. So, anyways, back to our conversation.
Oh yeah,
If you spoke Gaelic, I think most of us would be scratching our head in wonder, going, "Huh?"
Well, the beauty of that is because no one else in the chat there speaks Gaelic, I could just make noises and you'd have no idea. I could.
Well, that's just it. I mean, we wouldn't have a clue.
Well, a few years ago, was a friend of mine, a girl called Sandra, and she got me twice. I have to give her credit. She got me twice. I was talking again about having to relearn my own language because we weren't allowed to speak it in school and things like that. And we all had to speak English. She's like, "Oh, I speak Gaelic. I'll teach you." I was like, "Really?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "How much do you want?" She said, "I'll just get me a bottle of vodka." I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, thanks very much." So I met her in a mutual friend's house, I think, and she spent a few hours teaching me gibberish,
Uh-huh.
absolute gibberish. She never spoke a word of fucking Gaelic, right? But I'm going, Harry McCoursh, Herr Mahani, and all this, thinking I'm fucking learning how to say, hello, how are you, my name's whatever, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And she was taking the piss right out of me, right? But I didn't know this. So I gave her a
Mm-hmm.
bottle of vodka, thanks very much, and everything, and I went away. And I was like practicing these phrases that she'd, then someone, a friend who does speak Gaelic, went, "What the fuck is that supposed to be? Gaelic, you got me doing it." She go, right. She go, and I was like, my friend Sandy, she's like, "That's absolute crap. She's taught you absolute shit. That's just noises." So I phoned her up and I was like, "You fucking bastard." He's like, "Have you been teaching me?" And she was howling with laughter. And she's like, "I'm so sorry. I said I could speak Gaelic, then you said teach me." And I was like, "Oh crap, what can I do?" So she just did it anyway. I said, "Right, give me my bloody vodka back," you know. And the next time I saw her, she's like, "Oh, sorry," gave me the bottle back. And I went down to my friends. I don't drink vodka, but down to a couple of friends like Alec and Kenny. I said, "There you go, guys, a bottle of vodka. We'll sit, have a drink." So we're sitting drinking away vodka and Coke, and Kenny's going, "That doesn't taste right." I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "It just doesn't taste right." And I went and took a swig out of the bottle. She'd filled it with water and given me back a bottle of water. And I'd went to my friend's
No.
house with they're like, "Oh, let's have a few drinks. I've got a bottle of vodka." And I was feeding them fucking water and Coke. Right? I was like, "She got me again. I can't fucking believe it. She got me again." She made a fool of me twice. So I'm on the phone again, yeah, and she's on the other side of the phone crying with laughter.
Oh
And I
man,
was,
I bet.
I'm going to fucking strangle you.
Well, it looks like we got a winner. Sable Eagle, you got her, buddy.
Yeah, well
Good
done,
job,
CB.
man. Beating the odds. Yep, Sable Eagle. Oh,
Yeah, well
geez,
done.
I gotta deal with that guy again next week.
Oh,
Jeez.
God. Well,
All right. Well,
Dora,
you know what to do, Sable.
Dora in the chat saying nice friends to have. That's the Scottish sense of humour right there. There's nothing we like better than making a damn fool of our friends and the people around us. We absolutely love it. And if you can't take it, you've got no chance.
Yeah.
You know, if you lose your sense of humour, or if you can't laugh when it happens to you, you don't get to laugh when it happens to somebody else. You know,
Well, it's
that's
true.
the rule.
I mean,
Yeah. So
if
we
you can't
have a
take it,
very
don't dish it out.
yeah. If you can't take a joke, you're fucked. You've got no chance.
Mm.
So yeah, that's right. Sea Beagle, no bugger will watch next week. It'll be boring as shit.
Really?
That's what he said, and I'm inclined to agree.
Neighbor watching. Don't worry about it, Sable. They come to see me anyway.
yeah, you're incidental at best.
You're always welcome here, man. Absolutely.
I'm just here as ear candy for his sister. That's all.
well, you guys are my mates. I talk to you guys a lot in Discord, and it's just fun talking to you guys, and I get to interact with the side chat. Although today I've been pretty engrossed in our conversation, I haven't really been paying much attention to the chat. But but that's what it's all about, right? It's just.
Yeah. This is why I like this your stream here and Flipside, because it's people who don't normally have a voice, and
That's
so they get
exactly.
invited on, or you win the spot, the go, or beat solve the puzzle thing, and suddenly you're like, oh, okay. And I know I say a lot of people think, well, what am I going to talk about? It's like, I don't have to talk about anything.
Yeah.
We just spent the last almost 2 hours now talking about how to pronounce whiskey and Vietnamese food. So whatever it is you enjoy, whatever you're into, just
well, that's just it. I mean, it's common interest, and whatever's going on.
Yeah, we all have to eat and drink, so let's chat about
that. Yeah. Exactly. And you're actually the first person I've come across in this community that actually showed an interest in Vietnamese cooking, not just what's to eat in Vietnam. I mean, that's the standard thing. What's Vietnamese food like?
Why don't you make it and find out?
Yeah, exactly. But you're the one. Yeah, exactly. You want to learn how to make it the real way, the proper way, and that's I think where we connect. So.
Yeah, I mean, I do envy you your position, geographically at least. Because I would love to be in Vietnam, mainly because it's fucking snowing here at the moment, and
and I'm cooking,
and you're this is the food I love. I mean, I said before that when I was a kid and I went to Van Tan and Young's house, they made us as close as they could get to traditional Vietnamese food, because they didn't understand our food. They'd never seen fish and chips and things like that before. So they made what they could with what they had. And it was fantastic. And that set me off on this journey. Oh, hey, Nimrod. This set me off on this journey of discovery. Like, I have to know. There's it's not enough for me to know what's on my plate. I have to understand the process.
Yeah.
I need to know how it was made. How do I make this? Can I make this? Do I need special equipment? Where can I buy this special equipment? And in the past, I've got to know like the people in the kitchens and things quite well, so they don't mind. Just say, how did you get this? What's this flavour? And they say, oh, it's a particular spice. Where can I get it? And they'll go into the back and they'll come out with a little packet of it for me. So there you go. And it's been really great with that, because when you get people who are like passionate about their food, they don't mind sharing. You know, I know there's a very it's very macho thing where the man's in the kitchen and it's a big secret and they won't give anybody their recipes and how you get, because we know you're in there opening a fucking tin. Do you know what I mean? You're not fooling anybody. Do you know what I mean? Or you've made like you've bought a pre-packed spice mix sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, that's fine. You know, that's fine. But stop pretending it's some sort of arcane secret fucking alchemy you're doing in there. Because it's really not. You know?
Yeah,
And
I
it
know
really
what you
bothers me
mean.
when people hide the process from you as though it
Yeah.
was, you know, oh, it's a family recipe, it's a secret. It's a steak
Yeah.
pie. You know, that's just fucking, you know, so when you start talking to people who work in restaurants, like the chefs and things in the restaurants,
Yeah.
and they understand that you are serious, you know, and you do want to learn, and you know, you're not going to go like, oh, what's this? Oh, I can do that, and you go and buy like a tin of fucking yellow bean paste or something and throw, you know, just no idea what they're doing. So I'm really, what's the word I'm looking for? I know people say really anal about it, but that's not the right word. But I have to know what's on my plate. I've got to know how if I can do this and what was the process of it.
Yeah. What were the ingredients? And
Yeah, and
you know,
what quantity and how do I do this?
yeah.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
like almost every kind of South Indian curry you'll eat will have pretty much the same ingredients, but it's a level of ingredients to balance out the spices, because there's a Western thing that will eat
Yeah.
a curry and think that doesn't taste right, so we'll just put more chili powder in. And no, balance out your garam masala, your turmeric, your cardamom.
Yeah.
You have to get the
Yeah.
balance right. You know, a
And
madras and a jalfrezi are so a madras and a jalfrezi are so close in their ingredients, but there's those tiny little differences in the amounts.
Exactly. And it's not enough just to know that it's got chili in it, but what kind of chili?
Yeah, but
You know,
what kind of
different
chili?
kinds. You can't make a curry with a jalapeno.
No, you cannot. No,
You know?
I've seen people try to do it.
You know,
They go,
so
"Well, a
I
chili's a
understand what you
chili,
mean.
isn't it?" Yeah. Like, yeah, but it's like a chili isn't a chili. I mean, a Scotch bonnet tastes completely different to like a
Yeah,
habanero,
absolutely.
and a bird eye doesn't
Absolutely.
taste anything like a finger chili.
Yeah.
But you have to train your palate, because if you don't, it just tastes like fire. It just tastes like chili,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
whiskey.
exactly.
Unless you understand the subtle nuances and differences, it all
hmm
just tastes like fire.
Yeah.
You know, liquid fire. So unless
Yeah.
you
You're not going to be
get,
able to
yeah,
notice.
unless you get involved and spend the time with it.
hmm
And I'm ignoring that in the chat, by the way, just so you know. I know I've reacted to it. I'm reacting to it to tell you I'm not going to react to it. Just so you know. And I know it's you, Nimrod. You're not fooling anyone.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
that's how I went down that route. And say showing me the how to do a minga properly, and if you find the time to do the sweet potato
yeah.
and chicken curry,
Yeah. I
I'm
mean,
don't no pressure, you know, but I really
oh,
am
no, no,
looking
no. I
forward to that.
understand. I understand. But I do want to, just before we go, I just want to go back a little bit. You had said that when you made the minga, that Eddie doesn't really like the chicken with the bone in it.
Yeah,
But that bone is so important in developing the stock.
yeah. I say this to her a lot. She
hmm
don't like it on the bones, but that's where the flavour is.
Yeah, it's from the
You know?
marrow and the bone.
Yeah. When
Yeah.
I think I when I go out, we don't eat out very often, but if we go out to like TGI Fridays or something like that, I'll get
hmm
the chicken wings, and they'll
hmm
ask me, do I want a bowl, a separate bowl for the bones? And I say, no, I'm going to eat the bones. And they look at me as if I'm insane. No, I actually am, because the bone marrow is
Mm,
where all that flavour is.
absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
and I do, you know, it probably really embarrasses the people around me, makes me look like a fucking savage, but I don't care. I mean,
Who brought the Neanderthal?
yeah, why is that man eating a fucking chicken bone when there's a plate of chicken next to him? Why isn't he eating the chicken?
Yeah.
Because the chicken tastes okay, but the chicken bone is
Yeah.
where it's at.
Yeah.
I was always that kid at school that would eat the weird bits of the food that no one else wanted. You know, like that strange flappy bit you get on the chicken, or the
Yeah.
little bit of marrow in your steak. You know, that kind of gelatinous, gloopy way, but there's so much flavour in it. You know,
Yeah,
I mean, right? I mean,
absolutely, man.
I make a roast chicken, and the first thing I do is eat all the bits of cartilage up the spine. You know, those brown, kind of look like kidney sort of things.
Yeah,
That's the best bit of a chicken.
yeah.
The bit no one else wants.
And that fatty bit at the end, you know, the tail.
Yeah, the little flappy bit that's all hairy, and yeah, it
Oh
tastes.
man, that's the best
Yeah,
part.
that's mine. That's mine. Maybe when I had
Absolutely.
my dog before, it's kind of huge, big Malamute Wolf Cross.
Mm,
Every so
mm.
often, every few days, I would buy him a roast chicken from the rotisserie. But he understood that the back end bit and the oysters were mine first. Then he got the rest of it.
Yeah,
You know, the chicken oysters and the little flappy parson's nose, that was mine.
yeah. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, anyways, that it's about time to
Plus
wrap
2
it
hours.
up there, mate.
Wow.
Yeah, we killed 2 hours pretty good there. But yeah, I'm gonna have to call it here. But man, it was really great to have you on again, Tusk. I just
Oh,
love these conversations.
thanks for
But the
inviting me.
next time we have you on, we're gonna have a discussion about mongrels.
Oh, God, we went on about that for a good hour the other day.
I know that's gonna be a hoot. So we gotta
Gonna
find some time to bring you on
yeah,
again for that.
offend
That was
everybody
fun.
in the chat.
Oh man, we talked about that for hours, man. That was fun. That was really good. Mongrels.
Oh, I get kicked out the kennel club and everything.
Yeah, maybe send Eddie out to do some shopping or something.
Oh, so she knows my feelings on that, or they know
There
my
you go.
feelings on that. Eddie's well
There
aware
you
of my
go.
feelings on crossbreeds with stupid fucking names. Right.
But anyways, Tusk, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Always a pleasure, my friend.
It's my pleasure. Thanks to everybody in the chat for coming along and trying to
Yeah,
wind me up with their ABBA nonsense. And
yeah,
hello to your sister.
absolutely,
That's nice to see her. Oh, just
absolutely. Go ahead.
how do you pronounce the surname Spikers? It looks to me.
Spikers.
It's Spikers.
The J is silent.
Okay.
When you
I thought
say
so,
it in a Dutch language, it's spijkers.
Spikers.
Spijkers.
All right, so you've got the H on the K.
Yeah.
Spikers.
Is it,
Okay.
spikers. Yeah, but when we say it in English, it's just spikers. We don't pronounce the J.
Okay. Oh, okay. Because I have
Yeah.
a Danish friend whose name is Lurky, but there's
Mhm.
an inflection on the AE sound which you can't do unless you
Mm.
speak Danish. It's Lurky. It's a really
Yeah.
I can't do it. I'm not even. That's my best attempt, and she just rolls around laughing when I try. So everybody just calls her Lurpak.
Well, at least you're a source of entertainment.
Oh, if nothing else, I'm just laugh at me. That'll do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
All
I'll
right.
let you get away. So thanks,
Absolutely.
everybody.
And for everybody in the chat, Dora, Taddy, Hilda, it was great for you to come out. I'm so happy you came to join the show. Hope to see you here again next week. Eddie, always a pleasure to see you, and everyone else. I mean, thank you so much for coming out and spending some time with me and my friend. And it's been fun. I'm glad I'm back. A couple of issues the past few weeks, but hopefully we've sorted that all out. So that's it. Thank you for coming out, everyone. Be safe. Have a good week. And we're going to catch you again next week. Same time, same place. Thanks for coming along, everyone. Have a good night.
Cheerio and rasta.
Bye-bye.